only have watched the season 13 first act and like the Trixie
This is
Mattel
classic.
recap.
This is classic.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
classic. Just in case the listeners, because like a lot of people that listen seem to be out of the country. So, all right. So
Okay.
I'm gonna get us started.
Hell yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Ian Aber. We are back with another episode of Straight People. Sorry for the issues with last week's episode. The sound was unsynced and it sounded crazy. So I pulled the episode, but we are back again with our guest, Katie Hughes, hilarious comedian out of Atlanta. She is also the host of your Carriage Awaits / Bits You Better Work podcast, a Helium Podcast Network podcast. So this is the first that I know of Helium Podcast shared cinematic universe crossover event. So make sure to check out her podcast. And I'm on an episode like 2 weeks ago that was super fun to record. And welcome. Hey, Katie.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. This is the third time that we've had this conversation because you were actually one of the first people I recorded when I started the podcast a few years ago, and we lost that episode. So then we re-recorded. I'm over here slapping my legs for emphasis for some reason.
It's the Katie curse.
It's the Katie curse. So let's see if we can do this one. Katie, the show's called Straight People. Tell me, how do you feel about that? Are you a straight person? Do you identify as a straight?
I do identify as a straight. I have been in a heteronormative cis couplings for 10 plus years, so I would have to check that box as a straight lady.
Yeah. Do you feel like that? So you and why am I forgetting your boyfriend's name? What is wrong with me?
What is it? Crid?
That's why, because he has that slight variation.
His stage name.
Yeah, Crid. Do you guys feel like that you embody like typical gender roles inside of your relationship? Like, does he take out the trash? Do you make dinner? Like if there's a bug, who kills it? Or you don't do that? Maybe you're like you rehome the bug at somebody else's house or something.
I think that we don't necessarily have like traditional gender roles. Like neither one of us have ever wanted to get married. Neither one of us have ever wanted to have kids. So like we have a lot in common in our, otherness as like, a couple of straight people who you would assume like eventually would get married, might have a kid. We have some chihuahuas, so that's worse than children, I think.
How many dogs do you have?
We have two. We have like a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Okay. What are their names? I don't know if I've ever asked you about I know you have 12.
In my act, I call them the mix of their names is Raisin because I, use them both as one dog. But Cadence is the old dog. The shelter called her Cadence because she has a terrible bark, and so they're being passive aggressive. We kept it. And then the other dog is named Monkey because when she was a puppy, she would scream and jump off things just like a wild gibbon.
Oh, wow. I love how you like give up one of the comedian conceits, which is that like your dogs solo individually are not funny enough to make the act. But if you collapse them, that's such a funny. I used to tell that to people. Somebody would tell me a story and I go, like your mom and dad really don't do much in that story. But like if you just made them one person giving you that advice, they're like, I'm not pitching you a joke. I'm just telling you about my life. And I'm like, but still, like when you tell me about your birthday, you don't have to tell me everyone who's there if only one person says anything. Do you know what I'm saying? No, but,
right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like one of them is very, very bad and the other one is kind of bad. So I mostly talk about the one, but it's kind of like every experience you have with a dog at a dog park is going to be similar. So why am I going to like spend time explaining, precious seconds? It's just going to.
Kathy Griffin used to do that. She had a couple dogs. And there was a point in her act where she was like, no, I can't remember her dog's names, but like Chance and whatever. Now Chance does this. Now Chippy does that. I'm just like, okay, we don't need.
Yeah, that's the person I don't want to be. That lady where it's like, and one has beautiful hair and the other one has short hair. It's like, I don't care.
Okay, so you're straight. You're a straighty. You talked to me about that you grew up with gay people in your life. So tell me a little bit about that. And what that, so you knew queer people kind of from Jump, really, in a way, didn't you? Or
totally, yeah. So my Aunt Jackie, who's my mom's sister, she's been with her partner Brenda since I was born. Like since I can remember, they were always Aunt Jackie and Aunt Brenda, and it was never spoken about. But when I was like 10 or 11, me and my cousin, like I think my cousin brought it up. She was like, "Oh, do you think they're lesbians?" And I was like, "Yes, I do," because we'd probably just learned about that because we're like, preteens. And then that was it. It was just kind of like, um, almost like a sanity read where it was like, I'm not crazy. They're not just roommates, right? And it's like, yeah, they're not just roommates with a waterbed they share. So that was like, that was like a nice moment to have with my cousin, who's neither one of their daughters. She's my Uncle Bob's daughter. But like,
Yeah.
we're just like, okay, agreed. And then, I mean, all the signs were there every Christmas. All of our Christmas presents were wrapped in rainbow colored paper, which was like, oh, now I'm putting the pieces together. But they
Right.
actually waited until I was a legal 18-year-old adult to tell me. And you know, it was like, oh, the cat's out of the bag. It's like the cat's been out of the bag, but they were
Right.
worried about my conservative parents' opinion of telling, I don't know, a child about gay people, which is
Yeah.
very silly.
What year was that they came out to you?
Well, not to give my age away too much, but 2003.
Yeah, I'm gonna let everyone do the math there, but
The listeners can do the math.
they can do the math. But so well, 2003 sort of in that kind of gay, still not fully, you know what I mean? Like what we see now, especially with people out and the way things are, at least in the United States, is that everyone knows a gay person now. I feel like in most cases, even in the most rural areas, there are out gay people, and that just simply wasn't the case. Like in 2003, like
Mhm.
the 90s is when gay sex became decriminalized, and it's a state by state. But the majority of states by the year 2000 had to criminalize gay sex. Like when I moved to Georgia, I remember knowing that my burgeoning desire to sleep with men was also illegal, and I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like they say now be gay, do crime, and it's like you didn't have to do both. You didn't have to pick. You could just be gay. That was a crime, bitch. Remember that? No. Um,
I had a friend in high school, all through high school. He was my best friend. You know, obviously, I probably had a crush on him at some point, you know,
yeah,
as you do when you're a kid. And I remember like my friend said, oh, I heard he was gay. And I just asked him, like, in a, and he was like, yeah. And it was literally our relationship didn't change. He was still
yeah,
the same person he'd always been. And I feel like maybe I was too, like, not too accepting, but like too like put it out in people's faces. Cause I would go to like scandals with him in Asheville. Like I love a drag show. So we would go watch drag. I would borrow my friend's ID because I was like, I think you had to be 21. And so I think I was like 19. So I would like go in and we would dance and we'd watch the drag show. And then, he'd meet guys. We'd all go to Denny's together. It would be a lot of fun.
yeah.
And then we would have to go to like his hometown of Saluda, North Carolina,
Oh
where they
God.
still have, it's the home of the Coon Dog Day parade, where you are not allowed to dance with a same-sex couple. So like me and my friend Wendy couldn't do a square dance because that just was against the rules. And so I'm like over
Wait, at
there
the
like going,
dance or
you could not even just like dance and hold, like, so it would have to be like me, you,
yeah.
Wendy and Payne, and we could all hold the opposite sex hands, but like we couldn't, like they literally would stop you from dancing. And it was
Wow.
like footloose kind of shit. Like,
Wow. Well,
and I
that's
was like, go out there and be proud, hold his hand. And that's not great advice.
yeah. That's how they legislated it though. Back even in Atlanta, I've read a lot of, and the Atlanta History Center has oral histories. So like older gay people who recorded like remembering being gay in the 40s and 50s and 60s in Atlanta. And one of the things that they did was like if you were a man, it was illegal to wear women's clothing. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like sexuality was policed, but also like the behavior, and like the same thing with dancing. You couldn't same sex couples couldn't dance. And I remember reading one where it was like it was something about being on a dance floor, people of the same sex. So they built a raised dance floor to try to get around it. Like so they said, oh, they're not on the ground; they're up 2 feet off the ground or whatever. I don't think it helped them, but I just remember listening to those, and it's like that's so funny that in North Carolina that's still happening.
But
That
I
there's
mean, yeah, that was like through high school, we would go to Coon Dog Day, you get your little hot dog or whatever. And it's like such an antiquated thing to think about where it's like, there's nothing sexual about line dancing. Like that might be the least sexy kind of dancing. And I can't hold my friend's hand while we do this awkward thing. It's so bizarre and backwards. And I'm sure I would put money that they still uphold that rule today.
So yeah, that's insane. I had a boyfriend who was from Hickory, North Carolina, where they make all the
Hickory.
furniture.
Hmm.
Hickory, yeah. And he has since passed, but I remember going to meet his mom and dad, and like right before we walked in, so he was like maybe my second boyfriend, and I met him in Myrtle Beach and moved with him to Atlanta, which my parents already lived in Atlanta, so it was really kind of like I just moved back home or whatever. But I meant to meet his parents, and we walked in. He went. I heard his mom go, "David, is that you? I made you some blueberry yum yum." And I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be fun." She's sweet, blueberry yum yum. Everyone loves that, right? And then he turns around
Yeah.
and goes, "Don't say anything about being gay; they'll kill us." And then we walk into the house, and I'm like, he was exaggerating, but
Yeah.
that was his view of like. And blueberry yum yum, just so you know, is graham cracker crust, cream cheese mixed with sugar, and then just a can of blueberry filling poured over the top. So that's like a little country cheesecake if you ever need it.
Ugh. Chris's family makes peanut butter pie, which is literally a pie crust with peanut butter in it. These are
Oh,
the Southern folks we're dealing
yeah.
with,
Peanut
culinary
butter pie.
wise.
Do you have in your family and his family, do they still, so you guys have been together for a long time, are they like, when y'all get married, y'all think about getting married? Do they still ask, or they're just like whatever?
I think, well, like my parents like love Chris. Like my mom is like, he's one of my kids. Like she
Yeah.
loves him. And I think she knows me well enough to know like I'm not, I'm not
Yeah.
the marriage type. Like I can't imagine spending money on a big white dress. Like all that stuff sounds so silly to me.
Right.
His mom passed a few years ago, but his dad is not like really he's very, very conservative. So it's like a don't ask, don't tell, even on like a straight couple kind of thing. It's like, yeah, it's not spoken of, but I'm
That's
sure it's frowned
interesting.
upon by the whole
Yeah.
fam.
But so they're doing the like, if you don't bring it up, we're not going to bring it up kind of stalemate.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. I love that when straight people have to do that too. Like gay people, we arrive at that a lot of times. Like my parents are really, they're like surprisingly progressive now. And it's really a testament to pain. Like they love, like having a gay son, they probably give that a D minus, right? Just as a like, and then I wasn't the gay they wanted. Like my mom was like, I've seen the birdcage. Why can't you be like one of those? And I'm like, which one
The guy who's
specifically?
never worn shoes. You
Yeah,
can do that.
exactly. Um, but like the longer they've known pain, the more they're just like. But the only thing they don't like is every once in a while, just to be a dick, I'll talk about we're going to adopt some children, and my mom's just like, no, 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 and it's more because they know they were bad parents, and like you don't have the skills for that. Is that my mom? You don't have the skills. Get another dog. Um,
We haven't equipped you with those
yeah.
skills. Sorry.
I'm like, at least you know that. You know why I don't hug you.
Yeah. I
Okay,
think my
so
parents would probably like a grandkid, but like they know it's not going to happen, so they really like my dogs. They really ask about them as though they have personalities that aren't terrible.
right, that's my mom. She'll refer to my dogs as her grandchildren. I'm just like, you have grandchildren. You have actual. You don't have to ask about my dogs. But okay, so you were talking a little bit earlier. You
Mhm.
said you grew up going to drag shows. Off thing. We talked a little bit about RuPaul's Drag Race. You're a fan of drag in general, right?
Huge fan. Yes.
Yeah. What if you were like, no? As a matter of fact, I find it
No, I lied.
offensive.
I lied to get on
Um,
the show.
well, best 20 minutes of your life right here. Have you ever, for the third time? Um, I love how we're not really talking about any of the stuff we talked about before. But what I was going to ask is, have you ever had the experience? And I've only had this once or twice of a woman who finds drag offensive, who sees it as almost. I've had this happen in the last, let's say, 5 years. I had a woman, female comic friend of mine, say that she found drag offensive, like that it's the equivalent of like blackface, which I was like, I had to unpack all that for her and be like, you can't use that as like, those are not parallels at all. And you know what I mean? Like, you sound racist when you say that. But her point being that drag queens emulate, let's say, negative traits of women. Have you ever encountered that? I mean, you don't think that if you're a fan of drag, obviously, but have you ever
I
encountered that
think
in
that's
this?
like an internet argument. Like, I think that's a thing that like people on the internet could be like, they're taking being a woman away from us. They're making fun of what women are. But
Yeah.
what it really, I mean, not to explain drag to your listeners, like what it is to me is like going, a lot of people are like fantastic, like a Violet Chachki, a fantastic seamstress who's going to wear your clothes when you're nobody. You are. Some people do it for fun, like just because it's like a laugh, and you like Trixie Mattel, she's a
Yeah.
singer. didn't have as much success as a male singer. And so I think like, you add a lot of elements like anybody does, like to your stand up, to whatever, and you figure out like what is entertaining. But they're also like going, gender is subjective, it's a spectrum. It's, you don't have to subscribe to it. Like you don't have to wear a dress to be a woman. You don't have to look any certain way.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because I don't dress like a stereotypical woman. Like I'm wearing pants every day. Nobody's like Katie's cross dressing. So I mean,
Your
I think
tomboy
that
joke is one of my favorite jokes of yours. I'm not going to say it. People
thank
listen
you.
to your album, Queen of the Castle, if they want to hear it. But no, that's
It
interesting.
is the first joke, so they can turn it
Yeah.
off right after.
Well, there you go, guys. Don't listen to another second of it. But I asked that only because it just kind of popped into my mind. Not that you would be the official person to answer, you know what I mean? But I was wondering about that because like I didn't hear it on the internet. I had somebody like basically go, well, drag is, you know what I mean? Like I was saying, oh yeah, like I like going to drag shows, and they're like, well, drag's problematic, and I'm like, really? Okay. Now what I would say about drag being problematic, and it's changed a lot, is that when I used to go out to the clubs when I was a little baby queer in the 90s, the drag queens were the ones on the microphone saying the most racist, offensive things I've ever, you know what I mean? And it was like, it was just that was the time frame, and it was okay, not necessarily okay, but it was like, that's what was going on. And literally like there would be shows that I would be, if whoever the MC was, if the MC was somebody who was going to be making fun of Puerto Rican people, I was like, okay, I can't with that. But it's just funny to me because like nobody owns what being a female is in the sense of like makeup and hair and all that. Because if you go back historically, men were wearing just as much makeup and wigs and all that shit, 300 years ago, depending on what country you're
Yeah.
looking at. But
Like, can
anyways,
you
that's it.
imagine getting ready for a day in Congress and you're like, I got to put my wig on? Like,
Oh,
if you did that today, people would be like, oh, are you okay? Like, you're the
yeah.
only one here wearing a powdered rug on your head. What are
Yeah.
you
Where's my
doing?
wig
So, yeah,
powder
things change.
at?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do our hard pivot. Um,
Okay.
because I just quizzed you last week on, you already know the conceit of that game of straight or gay. I am going to read you a quote that
Mhm.
is a famous, in my mind, RuPaul's Drag Race quote. And you're going to tell me who it's attributed to. And if you'd like, you can say what the conditions were. Like, so if they're saying something, who they're saying it to, or who they're saying it in response. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. All right, you
Yes.
ready? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, fuck my drag, right? Any guesses?
Mm, I want to say Trixie Mattel,
Nope.
but I don't.
It was Kennedy Davenport to Milk. Uh, Milk was commenting on everyone being very fabulous and wonderful, and left Kennedy out of it. And Kennedy was like, "Yeah, but fuck my drag, right?" Now she has it on T-shirts though, so it's like any terrible thing that happens to anybody on that show turns into like their catchphrase. So,
Oh, yes.
uh, I'm feeling very attacked right now.
That's such I mean, I feel like everyone on that show has said that. Um, who?
That was
I don't
Laganja.
know. It
Laganja,
was like,
Lestrange, Laganja,
okay, here's,
Stranja.
I mean, to start with, you've picked people who are on the show very briefly. Uh,
Oh, did you hear that, Laganja? I know she listens. No, I'm just kidding. Well,
I
Kennedy
mean,
was an
big fan of
all-star.
the weed.
Kennedy was an all-star. I know, right? I like Laganja now. Like, but Laganja at the moment was pretty much being attacked. Okay, this person wasn't on for very long, so you can judge me for that. But the quote is "party."
Oh, Adore Delano.
Yes.
And that
Okay.
is, I love that as like a hell yeah, or like just an extra thing to say. Party
Yeah.
is very fun.
Party's usually my reference back to when everyone's like, "The show's gonna be super fun, guys. Get there 15 minutes early." I'm always like, "Party." But okay,
Party. Party
I
said deadpan is great.
party. Okay, I love long walks on the beach, big dicks, and fried chicken.
uh I feel like that's RuPaul, but I don't know if that's correct.
Miss Jujubee, sweetie, Miss Jujubee.
Oh, you know what? I will have to admit I've only seen Jujubee's All-Star season,
Okay, that's fine. That's
and I
fine.
don't.
I didn't say you were gonna be good at this game. I just said this
I
is the game.
know.
Okay, this one should be easy. Okay, back rolls.
Oh, Alyssa Edwards.
Okay,
Alyssa
all right.
Edwards to Jay Jolie.
Yes, look at that. Okay,
That's one of my favorite seasons.
That's a pretty good season. Okay, this one's a little long, so let me see if I can. I don't have a sugar daddy. I have never had a sugar daddy. If I wanted a sugar daddy, yes, I could probably go out and get one because I am what? Sickening.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, and I feel like I want to say Willem, but I don't think it's Willem.
Uh-uh.
I don't know. I'm really
Shangela.
losing cred. Who?
Shangela says that to me beyond first because Mimi implies that all of her shit had been bought by a sugar daddy. She's like, let's get one thing straight, honey. And then boom, 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 boom. It's one of my favorite moments of the whole fucking show. Because I remember up until then I had watched it and enjoyed it, but that was the first time it made me stand up out of my chair. Because sometimes like when shit gets real like on television, I'm like, okay, I gotta stand. Okay. Next one. Is there something on my face?
Oh, that was during a judging ceremony. I can fuck. Ian, I am losing all credit, but I do is there something? Oh fuck.
This
Tell
is
me.
this is not an official RuPaul's Drag Race quiz, so you're okay. You know what I mean? Like this is just for fun. It was actually in the workroom, and it was
Pearl. It's Pearl.
Yes, it's Pearl. Saying it to who?
Saying it to RuPaul when she gave her some constructive criticism, and then she sat there like, I don't need to learn anything from RuPaul. I do remember that, Pearl.
Okay, so this should be easy. Go back to Party City where you belong.
Oh, fucking Fifi O'Hara to the iconic Sharon Needles.
Right? Who just called her a tired ass showgirl, to be fair. So not that I'm taking Fifi's side, I'm just saying. Okay. You are so full of shit the toilet is jealous.
I don't know that one.
It's Jinx Monsoon, but I feel like it's like an internet read. I just picked out that was one of the I didn't do the which I should have done. That would have been fun. The library is open, the reading challenge. Okay, this one's easy. Choices.
Oh, Tatiana.
Yep. Okay, the shade of it all.
The shade of
Wow,
it
the
all.
shade of it all.
Not Coco Montrese.
It's a Miss Latrice Royale.
Latrice.
Latrice.
That's Chris's favorite, one of Chris's favorite drag queens. He loves Latrice
Nice.
Royale.
She loves to stomp the house down. Okay, this one should be easy. Miss Vanjie, Miss Vanjie, Miss Vanjie.
Well, that's Miss Vanjie of the House of Mateo.
There you go.
Also favorite of mine. I love that they brought her back for a full season.
I love that she sounds like this. So when she's in, she just has this deep ass voice. It's just so deep. It's like she's not even tall enough to have that voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me and Brooklyn Heights. Yeah, we're dating. It's like, okay, wow.
Oh, Miss Brooklyn.
Fun.
I'm kai-kaiing with Brooklyn. Okay. Your tone seems very pointed right now.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Willem. That's a very Willem.
Oh, Willem.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll jump ahead then. We'll do the last one. Okay. I don't get cute. I get drop dead gorgeous.
Another Alyssa Edwards.
Yep. All right, congratulations. You don't
Girl, look how fucking orange you look.
Yeah, I cut that one out. And then this is not RuPaul's best friend race.
I feel like that's Michelle Visage, and then Alaska quoted it a bunch.
It's LaShawn Beyond, who probably went home like episode 2 or something in her season, and they say it constantly. That and let's get sickening.
Apocalypse was my favorite LaShawn moment, where she couldn't get that word together with the big thing on her head. She's like, I'm from the apocalypse. I'm like, yep, you are.
All right, well, we are at the end of our episode. You are in fact straight. I think maybe you've only seen clips of RuPaul's Drag Race. Okay. I'm joking. I'll have you back on, and we'll do another quiz that's more geared towards your knowledge set.
You know what's funny is I on 4th and 10, which is a sports podcast, they go bring your top 10 list of something. So I brought my top 10 funniest drag queens, and I had to educate them about Miss Vanjie and all them. And I really feel like a fraud now.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
I know. I'm gonna quit comedy.
No, please don't. You have a show tonight. I've been stalking you.
Oh, yeah.
I know what's up. at the Fox's Lair or wherever. So tell people where they can find you online.
You can find me at katiehughescomedy.com. That has links to everything. You can find my album on any music streaming platform. If you like video games and watching people be bad at them, I'm on twitch.tv/Uncle Katie. And I have a podcast, which Ian mentioned.
Yeah, that she does. So thank you, Katie, for being on. You've been amazing. We might release the video for this one. I don't know. I've switched over to Zoom because Squadcast FM, you fucked me for the last time. That's my review of your product. My name's Ian Aber. This has been Straight People. There's straight people everywhere. Be nice to one today. You never know what might happen. You know what I'm saying? Like get a pot of gold or something. All right.